Hello, welcome to How to Draw a Tiger with Adam Ming. That's me. So today I'm going to show you how to draw a tiger using a cut and paste style. And this is not a realistic tiger, but I'm going to show you how to simplify a picture into a more abstract form. And we're going to use the shapes that we find in this photograph of a tiger to create 9 or 10 tigers. Let's see how far we go. Okay, I'm just going to jump into it because lunch is almost here. And here's a tip for all artists. If you cater your lunch, get it delivered to you every single day, you save so much time and mind share because you don't have to think about what to eat for lunch. And that's really a lot of energy and time that you save. Also, you don't have to spend time creating the food, so it's really worthwhile. And especially where I live, I even save money. Okay, so let's go to drawing this. If you are watching this on Behance, which you probably are, every step that I make is recorded, so you can just look at the panel on the right. I think it's a really cool feature. So if I don't mention something that I'm doing, you can actually read about it in the side panel. But I'll try to mention things as I go. So the first thing I need to do is identify the shapes in a tiger that I can use over and over again. So I'm going to use a vector brush. And what I mean by shapes is, for example, the head is, let's use a blue to contrast with the orange. So the head is a kind of circle in its most simple forms. We'll take that. And there is like a triangle shape that creates that neck, the huge neck area that kind of defines a tiger. So that's an interesting shape. And I'm going to move this out. So we know that's the head and neck. And then we have the body shape. I'll do that on a different layer. So it's a rectangle, but it's kind of curved. So we'll use this curved rectangle shape. Oh no, I did it on the wrong layer. So I'm going to have to do that again. The great thing about using the vector brush is once you've drawn something, and I was going for the curve shape, once you've drawn something, you can easily fill it in to get the shape. So that's the body, and then we have the limbs. So on a new layer with the vector brush, I have a limb. And maybe I'll draw them all in the same layer. Should I? No, I'll keep them separate. So create 4 layers and a limb on each. I say limb, but I should really be saying legs. These are the tiger's legs. So the back legs look a little bit different. It's an extra segment. So that's good to know. And I'll just draw a couple of more similar shapes. So the top segment looks a bit like a trapezoid with a rectangle and a foot. That's the foot. And I'll draw... Oh, I did the wrong layer again. I will get better at this, I hope. Okay, so we're drawing another back leg, and on the last layer, another front leg. I haven't done an awful lot of work in Fresco, so I'm new to the interface, but I really love the features that they have. Okay, and the last bit is the tail. Now in this photo, the tail is kind of a boring line. I think it'll be more fun if we do something a bit more creative. So I'm gonna draw the tail as a squiggly line. Feel that. So these are the shapes. I don't need the image of the tiger anymore. And that is how we find the shapes of a tiger. And how is this useful? So what I'm going to try and do now is to create 9 different tigers. 9 different tigers using these shapes. Basically, I'm going to move them around, maybe scale them a little bit to create different forms. And this is really how you want to think about complicated things when you're drawing. Even if you want to draw really detailed things, you have to think about the underlying shape. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will group these layers and I'll name this group. Can you name the group? I don't know if you can name a group. And there you go. Hidden UI. Shapes. Shapes 1. Just shapes. Okay, and then I'll have to duplicate the group. If I can find it. Where did that go? Duplicate group. Duplicate group. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So let's start with one of them. Open up the group layer. Now I'm just going to recombine or I should hide all the other layers so you can only see the top one. By now you probably get the idea and can already do this yourself, but if you want to stay and watch the rest, that'd be cool too. I see I didn't add the head to all these different groups, which is interesting. So I tell you what, I will draw a new head in each group, just so there's a little bit of variety. Delay layer, okay. So this group doesn't have a head, I create a new one, and I remember the head looks something like a chess piece, a pawn in a chess piece. So here we go. This is our tiger head. Head and neck combination. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a bit of insight into how I think when composing, because what we're doing at this point is composing a page. I actually think in terms of grids, and I kind of see the whole grid as a chessboard. And I'll do a simple version of that. I don't know why I think this way, I just do. So basically I see the page broken up into various parts. So in order to get variety, what we're going to do is we're going to use the different segments to start with the head, and then everything else will kind of flow around that. And I think that will give us a variety of compositions. So this is a hack, so you don't have to think too hard. Or think once and then just keep doing it again. So in the first picture, the head's going to be here. That means the body will have to come down and join it somehow. I'm going to have to flip that. So let's flip the body. Transform. Where are the tools for the transform to flip? There? Okay. Make the body a bit bigger to match the head. So at the body here, going across, and then the tail is attached to the body, so move it here, and then you get your hind legs, which you want to flip and rotate. Tigers are fun because they move in interesting ways. So their legs might be at any different spot at one point. If you were using drawing, you could of course articulate the joints a little bit more. And even in this cut and paste style, you could cut them into smaller pieces and do more articulation for the elbow joints or things like that. But for my purposes, I'm just going to use them as they are. Really what I'm trying to do is to get a variety of different poses using the same shapes. And here we have our first tiger. Okay, so now looking at it, I think it can be improved. And I think it'll be improved by rotating the head a bit. And then all the other layers can be repositioned. That's a bit of better use of the space, I think. Here, so using these shapes, I created my first tiger. Of course, to really make it a tiger, you will need stripes. But I'm going to do that in the next video. The real reason I'm doing this is I'm doing a series of videos where I'm testing brushes. So I'm going to be using these shapes to test the brushes. Okay, so let's hide this one. 1 down. 8 to go. So again, draw another head. Open the layers up. This time I'll start here with the head and neck. And feel that the color is slightly different, but that's okay. Okay, and then I'm going to connect the body. The body connect. Because the neck is so big, the body might need to be a little bigger. This front paw can come down here. Next paw. Could be behind, but I don't know if that looks good. Where would it be? So I moved the neck so you could see the other paw. And now the back legs. I pull this back to the extreme, just so I have space to put the other leg. So the trick, when I try and do illustrations, I try to arrange everything so it's really readable, kind of like Egyptian paintings. And here we have our second tiger. In this example, I'm going to draw the head last. The giant neck. So you might be thinking that does not look very much like a tiger, but once you put on the stripes and maybe write a roar next to it, I'll show you that part, it becomes very clear that it's a tiger. See? What else could it be? Of course you need the stripes and some details to finish that up, but you get the idea. Okay, so third pose done. Keep going. I've had the head here, here, and here. I'm going to draw the head again. Okay, so now we have the tiger looking down. Probably needs a bigger body. So I hope that you see that just with a few building blocks, we're actually able to create many poses. So the trick to knowing how to draw something is to understand the building blocks of the thing, at least having a shorthand of it that you can use over and over again. And so even if you were not using this cut and paste style, you would have this in your mind. So every time you're drawing, you're trying to capture these different building blocks, maybe with a few tweaks in your mind, and then you put it all together later. So that's done. It's quite nice to batch work like this, so you're doing the same thing over and over again. Sometimes one of them ends up looking really good. So this might look most like the original reference. I'm going to try and see how far back I can keep these legs. This one looks like it could stretch back. I think at least one of them has to be further in front to show the tiger stripe. Okay, done. this one, I'm going to do a little bit of foreshortening. So I'm going to have the head of the tiger looking directly at you. And how we can demonstrate that is, instead of drawing a long neck like what we normally do, I can make it a little shorter. So the idea here is the tiger is looking directly at you. I'm going to put that in the center of the screen. Move everything around, so the body will need to go. Where will it need to go? Swap this curve. Okay, that could work. One advantage to doing this digitally versus actually cutting the pieces of paper out is you can enlarge your pieces, and so you can play with foreshortening a bit, like how I did here. The tail, I can make it smaller. So this is kind of like an Eric Kyle 2.0. May he rest in peace. And here you have a version of a tiger coming exactly at you. I don't know if you see what I see, so I'm just going to add a little bit of detail to show you what I mean. Tiger's head's looking directly at you. Okay, I like that one. Another one, so we've done here, the head goes here now. So as I've mentioned, I'm drawing the head all around the screen as a way to get different poses by starting in different places. It's kind of like giving myself a constraint. So I accidentally drew the outline in black. Sometimes I like to keep the accidents. Fixing the accidents rather than undoing the accidents sometimes create interesting results. That's why I like to keep them. So scale that a little bit, flipping all the legs around. I wonder what you feel about this style of illustration. I wonder if it feels like cheating to you. Because I only drew the things once and I'm moving them around. To me, I understand that the actual drawing often is not the work. The thinking is the much harder part of the work. The arranging, the composition, the ideas. The drawing is just our way to show the thinking has been done. If that makes sense. Okay, it goes here. The most obvious place to put the body would be here. What is the least obvious place I can put the body? I could flip it like this. Could I put the legs? What's the most obvious place I can put the legs? Could be coming up. Like that. Maybe. Like that. So in this case, you see, I will move the tail. And this foot. I have to make him look like he's grounded. And he has one paw up. Isn't that nice? And I think we're almost done. It has been fun drawing with you. This is the last one. So if you watched this far, and if you didn't come from Instagram, you might want to know that you can find me on Instagram at Adam Ming Studio or sketchbook.club. Okay, last head. Put it up here. Let me know if you found this useful. Learning this, and I learned this from, well, I learned the idea, I think from Adobe brush, if I'm not wrongly attributing that. But learning this way of abstracting really helped me leap forward in my illustration. Because previously, before understanding that you can see things as shapes, I was always looking for every tiny line. So in order to draw anything, I would need like a perfect reference and be able to draw all the tiny lines that make up that reference. But now understanding shapes, I can move things around, at least in my mind. I do the same thing, move it around so much more quickly and get a variety of images. So here we go. We have drawn or created 9 tiger poses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm gonna go now, but the next time I do a live stream, I'm gonna use these poses and I'm gonna test gouache brushes to see the different textures and what they can do. That's the real purpose I drew these tigers in advance, so I can test those brushes more quickly. So I hope you join me for that video. Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.